All right. Live from the Alpha Dome. We are merely vessels of the Alpha. They call us Alpha Romeo in the streets because the Alpha is both fast and foreign. You know what I mean? This is, I'd like to start with a big shout out to, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Up for acquisition. Big shout out to James and Colin. I know all your hard work, emails, calls, DMs worked. Joe Rogan has had a full 100+ episodes taken down. We'll see if you guys get the Rachel Maddow shout out.
Is it 100?
Really wish all the best. Yeah, 100+.
100?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Wow.
I'd like to point out that James has his full stop being poor cold email wizard drip, just like the complete thing. He's got the hat, he's got the shirt, he's got the whole nine on there. So
I thought it was a warlock.
The gang.
I love
warlock.
I actually dig that. Not that energy, but I think that's a hilarious angle on like sell it. Like I think they'll sell them. I think people will buy them.
He's like poor as a mentality, you know. Yeah, I need the video. Like the tweets were great, but I need the Tony Robbins voice. Like look right in the camera. Like poor as a mentality. That's why I'm selling this merchandise to you. Do you not have that mentality? And just like this shirt costs $74. It's Italian fabric. Poor as a mentality.
That's the alpha.
Let's go.
That's the alpha male right there.
But to kick this off, I know it's super obvious to the listenership that I'm a shape rotator, but would y'all consider yourselves word cells or shape rotators?
Shape rotator.
What category?
Shape rotator.
Easy.
How do you guys both write a lot? You know what I'm saying?
Too much.
Are you sure you're not word cells? All right, cool. All right, so it's across the board, 100% shape rotator on this podcast. Yeah, what else? What else are we doing? Now, James, you declared you're taking a personal day. You want to walk into that?
The best part about that is that I said that Oren already...
Was that something you tweeted?
I did tweet it, but Oren already cracked a joke about it in our chat the other day. He was like, "Oh, you're taking a personal day." So first of all, and I said this to two of my busiest friends on the planet, right? It's like by the way, the conversation we were having before, I'm like a busy dude, and I all the time say to you guys, I'm like, I don't know how you live your lives because
why
no
is
way
it
you're
so funny?
More busy than me.
Why is taking a personal day so funny?
First of all, I'm not even gonna take a personal day.
I picture James' day. James' day is like he wakes up, you know what I mean? He goes to the gym.
I do wake up.
He goes to food. He sends like a tweet or two, and then he like gets on a call,
browsing,
and then he like cooks some lunch,
fire.
and he like goes for a run or something, hits Erewhon, like has a meeting, like sends a couple tweets, like writes for 35 minutes, goes on Upwork, and then he's already at dinner, you know. And so, which to me sounds like a personal day.
Yeah, but I mean a real personal day. No, that's like a good Sunday. You just described a good Sunday for me.
Yeah. It's a legendary life. I'll give you that. It's hard because Colin and I have kids. We have to live vicariously through. Like, he could just go to the butcher whenever he wants.
I also, by the way, again, my fear here is that like I hope everyone recognizes that this is a drop of sarcasm in a little bit of this because if people are going to listen to this,
there's never been any sarcasm. No sarcasm. None.
All right, so everyone that listens to this now thinks that I'm a complete moron from James Explains, and that I just wake up and go to the butcher every day and send a couple.
No, but that's the dream. That's the thing. Yeah. When Colin and I both speak about this, is like, I work like 15 hours a day. I'm at the office for like 12. Then I go home. I go into a family. It's like this. That sounds amazing.
That's the family thing. You're killing that. I think that's the difference. Is that I have where you guys have family. I have like friend time, right? Like that's a clear, massive difference.
Friend time. This is my friend time, my man. Yeah. This is my friend time for the week.
Once a week,
90 minutes. 30 of them are messing around with camera equipment that doesn't work.
But one day you got to.
But is it true that your first?
What? No, it's like Con's about to have the dojo set up.
Before we hit the dojo, is it true your personal day is going to be your first TikTok?
Oh, it could be.
It's just a full recap.
It could be.
Percy Day.
But the question
is, day in the life of flipping digital real estate.
First, you're going upward.
Yeah. But if you go to the question, Colin, how's the Alpha Dome coming along? You know what I mean?
Is that my basement?
Yes, your basement.
Yeah. It's great. Yesterday, because I'm a parent, like Oren mentioned, I was taking a nap. And somebody in the basement,
right there, fucking with you, brother.
By somebody, I mean the gentleman working in the basement, just hit like a sheetrock gun right below me, dead in my sleep, just and and I was like and then I tried to shake it off, and then another one like 4 feet down, right underneath Kelsey, just very short-lived
I'm
nap.
surprised you talked about people working on it on the pod, because like Marty keeps being like, I see pictures of Colin's thing, like it looks like he's doing really complicated work. It's like really coming along. I'm like, oh yeah, he's just killing it.
Yeah. Well, she's not going to hear this,
assuming it's just him.
But,
yeah,
absolutely.
Now, you're telling the whole public that it's a team.
Yeah, well,
people wanted to think that Builders Build like went to like belt sanders. Well,
first of all,
my guy out here with the propane tank, just welding.
First of all, it definitely does. Is a little bit above my pay grade in that regard, just in terms of intensity level. But
permits were pulled.
Yeah. Hopefully, this is the last time that I'm in like the front room doing the pod, and next week I'll be in the Alpha Dome.
In the Alpha Dome, God. The Alpha Dome.
Alpha Dome. Yeah, it's either Alpha Dome or the Sigma Cave, brother. You choose, you know what I'm saying?
When you see me post on Instagram, like more progress, I'm going to like make a point to make it look like I'm doing the work just for, for Marty's entertainment.
There's like a hammer, like it's like coming out of the corner, like lightly in the field of view and shit on the line. It's so good.
I love it.
Oh, shit.
All right.
What we got for the tabs?
Yeah.
Looks like we'll start with me. Mine is an article. Shout out Kelsey, who will never hear this, but sent me this tab. CNN article.
$100 headline is still up in the air.
The headline is Relativity is 3D printing. Relativity is 3D printing rockets and raising billions of dollars, but will the technology work? So this is, of course, a startup that's raised $1.2 billion in 8 months. They claim to have the largest 3D printer in the world, and they're building rocket ships. And nobody really knows if any of it's going to work. And I think this may just be a cynical article about it, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those examples of like a moonshot VC project that like may or may not ever actually be a business. Maybe it's just a nonprofit. They've grown from like 100 people to 600. They're stealing engineers from SpaceX and all the above. And wanted to discuss. The pictures look cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I can only talk about this topic so much because I'm probably still under NDA for when I interviewed to be CRO of Shapeways. And
of what?
They did, which is like the largest 3D printing marketplace.
I thought you said Shape Waste, like a shapewear company.
But I remember looking at that business and being like, they're making like individual parts and like one-off things for like hobbyists and whatnot. And I remember thinking at that, and Desktop Metal was just raising money at the time and being like, there's a much bigger business here for these like one-off incredible parts, and people will pay any amount for them. And I think as long as their materials and their tech there and they really have the ability to churn that out, like the demand for one-off extremely complicated things like that seems to be very high.
Listen,
I mean, for one-off parts, right? This whole thing is they're going to engineer a rocket and then they're going to 3D print all of it.
I thought they were doing it for others. If they're just trying to do that themselves, then yeah, this is going to crash.
No, they're building a 200-foot tall rocket called Terran 1. Let's go.
Yeah, so I thought they were just making the individual componentry for other people's stuff.
Relativity plans to 3D print almost every single component of its 200-foot tall orbital rockets called Terran 1.
Well, and in that case, 3D printing is just basically being used as a buzzword because, like, cool, you can 3D print anything in any level of quality essentially at this point, and like, it's just like saying I'm going to weld it. It's like just another tool.
Doesn't it really bring down a lot of costs? Like there was actually. Ironically, the way that we're all in Ohm is from my homie who has this company that builds buildings inside buildings, like modular buildings. It's all 3D printed buildings, and they do like $800. They do like build. They do like $800 million a year though, for real. But like a part of it has to do with like how much their costs come down from 3D printing modular buildings as opposed to like just doing it all by hand.
Yeah, again, if you're like bidding out a contract to get like a government approved, cage code DUNS number CNC firm to do it, then you're probably saving that money. But like I think that's one of the reasons SpaceX has been able to kind of move like that versus people that are relying on government contracts and kind of vendor lists. Is there's ways to kind of work. Depends how much red tape you have to work through to be able to make your componentry. But they're going to obviously be like the poster child if anything goes wrong, even though stuff goes wrong in that industry all the time, because it's going to be like, oh, well, they 3D printed it.
I mean, I think there's like this weird push, like societally, against like this kind of stuff right now. And candidly, obviously, we've been playing in like an obscenely hot like capital markets environment for like a decade now, with like valuations going higher and people raising crazy money for unprofitable things. But I think that like stuff like this like is super important, right? I think we all like. there is like there's a bunch of electric car companies that are fake and stuff like that. There's obviously opportunity for people to exploit stuff.
Good old fake electric car company.
Multi-billion-dollar electric car companies. No, but someone has to take.
Either of you guys looking at a Fisker? Y'all want a Fisker? All right, sorry.
Fisker's been around a minute. That's all. We should do a deep dive on Fisker. That's a really interesting story, actually. It got bought, sold. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I do think we need people to be doing moonshots like this kind of stuff. And obviously, even though Elon may be crushing it with SpaceX, and you got Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, like, it's someone who like deeply believes in capitalism, and I would assume that two of you do as well. That like there needs to be competition in the marketplace to sort of help create innovation and make the pricing correct. So I'm all for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess I would just I have a distaste for this kind of fundraising and this kind of moonshot, and I think it's because SpaceX and Blue Origin, they're building rockets too, but they're also competing for contracts and actually sending rockets into space, right? Sure. These guys' whole challenge is we're going to 3D print it, and that's what's going to make it revolutionary. And I think this will probably end up burning the $1.2 billion dollars that it's
Are you focused on making the best rocket?
Yeah. And
or just
and winning contracts to use the rocket, or are you focused on doing something weird? I don't know.
Anything space related, well, I think is exciting, and hopefully there's the opportunity that we're going to asteroid mine and find the whatever that gives us infinite abundance as a species or whatever. But until then, it's like, aren't there problems to be solved on Earth to like impact actual people?
That's not what I was expecting here.
It's just tough.
Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
But all right.
Hey, I want to check in real quick on Oren's internet connection. He's at 15% uploaded on his videos so far.
I'm back in the back office, so it's going to be like on that. I'm to, we'll have to we'll go to the other wing to re-upload the night.
West wing.
What's Colin's basement? The Alpha Dome? Was that
the Alpha Dome?
Yeah. I promise
when I said Alpha Dome earlier. When I said Alpha Dome a few minutes ago, Kelsey stuck her head out of the other window like, excuse me, what did you just call it, the basement?
It's a beta shack.
Don't worry about it.
It's a beta shack. All right.
What do we got next?
Oren.
Oh, am I next up on this?
This is the whole. Right, I love this tab. I love this. Cool. Sorry.
Yeah, you can intro it if you want.
This is Taylor's company. This is the homie Taylor's company. This is Taylor Sicard's company. So this is Whimperin.
I brought it up.
Who's that?
Yeah. So tell us who the homie is.
So Taylor was I think employee top first 10 employees at Shopify. He was a PM at Shopify a long time ago, and then started. He does a lot of consulting, a lot of advising and stuff, but owns WinBrands Group, where they buy DTC brands. And so, I know recently they own Quelo, which is this ring company. They own this candle company, which they rank number 1 for the term candle on Google for, which is pretty major. And that company is called, drawing a blank on the name. It's very famous.
The agency team is verifying this as you
Colonial Candle.
No.
Yankee Candle number 1.
No.
Colonial Candle number 2.
It's called.
Which one is?
So we're going to go with Debunked.
No. That's because you literally don't even know how Google works, dog. Homesick candles, because it depends where you search. The server that pings it to you will show you a slightly
I know. I'm just
but no.
Obviously, well, my candle browsing history really throws things off. I was shown a $490 Le Labo candle first because
Of course, because your style. They just bought. So they bought Homesick, and then they bought recently. I guess they just bought a company called Love Your Melon, which is a hat company. But I know, last year they bought Gravity Blankets. Which was from this dude John, I think in New York, had started it. And anyway,
shout out Gravity Blankets, the true OGs.
The true OGs. So they're really they're doing it well. They're doing it right. And Taylor is one of the nicest people that I've met, and is amazing at Call of Duty. And so that's what we'll leave it as.
Red pill, blue pills.
Man, I miss Call of Duty.
Yeah,
man. There's gonna be a new segment called Red Pill, Blue Pilled, where we just throw names out there from Money Twitter and just go. Just gonna stop it. So I'm actually glad you had that background, because I wasn't going to hit any of the actual background and just talk about the concepts. It actually ties it nicely together, because what I thought was interesting about this was this idea of we know what a house of brands is. Like LVMH, or someone who owns, hey, we own 30 luxury brands across categories, or liquor companies that own multiple things inside of a category, and then obviously private equity firms that bring together a bunch of assets. But then this is kind of happening on a smaller scale now. So this is a good example of I guess there's three routes with which I see this happening I think are interesting to discuss. And the first is just like, hey, now if I start a brand, I have the infrastructure, because if I'm using the same audience or TikTok or I'm running a bunch of stuff, why don't I just start 3 brands? Or, like that's a thing that you can kind of see now with a lot of kind of modern creators is like, yeah, I got one thing, I got another thing. It's just you have enough infrastructure already. The other is, kind of what we have here, which is sort of like, all right, cool, we have a little fund and we're purchasing these companies and then we're using shared resources and we're kind of living under the others, kind of like the private equity approach to it. And then the third option I think is going to be really interesting is like brands that are going to band together. It's like, okay, could we just, if we have 3 small DTC firms, we realize that we're all kind of almost breaking even. Yeah, can we just like centralize accounting, marketing, and like start to like work through how does that look as we were operating either temporarily or long term as like combined groups, because that's what I feel is like really going to chip away at, like if you want to chip away at PepsiCo, you're a lot more powerful if 5 like burgeoning drink brands are banding together and sharing resources and going after them as a co-op when they go to like to sell in the stores and things like that, versus kind of continuing to go individually. So this is just calling out here, trend alert. This is going to be what's happening here over these next few years. I mean, these guys are just on the front end of this from the DTC perspective. There's going to be a bunch of different angles that they're going to hit on this. And if you do have a brand, you should be thinking about how can you kind of partner with others, or kind of are there private equity groups that are going to put you with a handful of other folks that they're going to kind of make that the right thing for you.
So the concept of DTC brands, kind of like a couple smaller brands orchestrating a roll up with themselves, is super interesting and can be really powerful. That's interesting. It probably only takes one person in one of those brands to see a bigger vision and make a move like that.
So first off, just really quickly, do you want to caveat this? I'm sorry, it was Candles, not Candle, and I think the number 6 for Candles currently for my search. Still pretty major. That's a major search to be ranking for at all. But no, I mean, listen, this is pretty apropos of, in 2021, I tried to do something like this, right? And start with one hearing aid brand, and sort of the idea was to roll stuff up. And then, to be honest with you, what I found was that it's interesting because, like, conceptually, you become disincentivized unless you have obscene amounts of your own capital to raise more capital in a holdco structure, right? Because you have to suffer dilution to raise money, like unless it's just debt. And so it makes more sense in a fund structure when we talk about sort of the PE fund structure, right? Where it's like, I'll take a 2 and 20, so 2% of management, 20% carry on the transactions on the deals. And I want to raise as much money as I possibly can, right? Because I get more and more money. But if it's an actual holdings company, you have to sell shares and sell equity. You dilute yourself down. And so that was one of the problems I ran into, and one reason I've rethought it. And then sort of the other side of it was that, like, along those same lines is you have to start thinking bigger in the size that sort of Taylor has thought, I think, with these brands here, is it has to be really, really big enough for you to be able to crush that OpEx by bringing some of those shared services together in-house on the back end. And then some of these things you're going to end up having, from a media buying perspective, if you're doing, I bet Gravity Blankets does $100 million a year. At $100 million a year, you're not sharing media buyers. You probably have 4 full-time media buyers that work for you in-house, right? So then the shared services model stuff becomes more the back office, accounting, legal, the types of stuff that becomes super shared services. But I love this model. This is really what Thrasio is doing with FBA, with Amazon brands. They're going into a SPAC at like a $4 billion market cap. And this is just cool stuff. I love it.
And that's how everyone should be thinking, because we're seeing this DTC revolution, and everyone's got their company or they've got their side hustle. And especially like on Money Twitter, there's hundreds of people that are moving things on their brands. And it's like, cool, can you find 5 other TikTok brands like in your niche, and can y'all band together and put whatever ego aside to like go harder as a group? Because especially when you're going into wholesale channels or going into media buying or any of those savings, like that's going to be the angle.
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of kind of counterintuitive ways to cross over, right? The more aligned your customer base is, the better that works, obviously.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily need to like all be snowboarding brands or something similar. There's a lot of other ways that you can cross over. I don't see like the overlap on what's this WinBG?
Yeah, there's not a bunch of overlap.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be. I'm just saying that there's.
I bet demographically,
the DTC is the overlap.
I bet demographically there is, though, between like
because the whole
Candles
point,
and like dope blankets, right?
Is the biggest thing. Like the sharing of the where there's retargeting of the email list, the customer data, all the things we talked about in previous pods, like automatic upsell. If you're doing that within a family, without having to use like a third party service for referral and all that, and you're all kind of making money for each other. Think about that across email automation. And it's like, if they express interest in this category, like plug them into the automation for that brand. And like, there's like so much sick stuff you could do with that. Yeah. I do think if you get hyper niche though, I'd really like to see someone roll up all the biblical breads like we have like the heaviest bread in the store, and it's always like blood of Abraham or like Ezekiel's fist.
I do know, I know Ezekiel bread.
Job.
What I will say is, I'll give you a little insight.
You've outdone yourself with that one.
I don't want to say too much because it's obviously not my place, and Taylor and I have had conversations. But like, I know that, for example, with Gravity Blankets, like in terms of opportunity, one of the big things was that they saw like a massive, and I think Colin will like this. I know Colin preaches this a lot. Massive SEO opportunity, and they knew that they could rank. There were certain search terms that when they bought it, they knew that they could rank for it. If they put in the effort, no one else would put in the effort.
Just off the domain authority.
And also look at like, the domain authority across, like you have 650 plus domains, and you're like trying to get a term, like you're gonna hit,
do whatever you want.
And that's what, and I guess to give some reference people on that, every domain has what's called domain authority and page authority. And domain authority is the overall domain, like how serious it's considered, and then the page is that individual page. But like most new domains are sitting there in that 0 to 10. You start to get somewhere you're in 10 to 20. When you're really established and you're considered to be solid, you're like in the 50 plus. And then if you're like AOL or Yahoo or, like you're in the 90s. But it's once you start getting into that level of power in there, where you have a couple brands that you can really, really build.
This is cool stuff. This is a lot.
I'm saying, can y'all name? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think that what's interesting is that Taylor's doing this right. I know a couple of people that are doing this, but my point is that like this is. I remember when I went on my mission to try and do this myself and sort of got the first brand. I thought that I was just like really clever. It's like this is happening a lot. There's a lot of small holdcos that are doing these roll-ups right now. And what's going to happen that when you see with like these public valuations like a Thrasios SPAC merger, everyone's going to start being like, whoa, I get to value my brands at like a 40x price to sales, right? As opposed to just like the normal, 5x price.
And then it's like everyone's going to be racing to get to whatever that like minimal viable revenue or EBITDA target is to be able to roll into one of those. You get the extra multiple, and then that's when the whole thing will fall apart. But like the time is now.
The time is now. All right, cool.
All right, what do we got
what's
next?
the next?
The next one is me. Okay.
Can y'all name all the grains in Ezekiel bread?
No.
Like barley, sorghum, like quinoa. You know what I'm saying?
There's
like,
so many grains. If you had to ask me of all my friends who could name all the grains in Ezekiel bread, probably Oren would be my best guess. If not me or Colin.
Amaranth. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to quinoa?
Amaranth. I know a lot about amaranth. Yep.
I was just saying, like that's just a lot of. It's just how many can you fit inside of a single? All right,
that's all it is. All right,
next tab.
Next tab is my tab. It is songfinch.com, and it's one of a kind wow moments. So basically, it's I've noticed that songs on demand.
Everyone just starts cracking up looking at this,
dude. So basically, remember, and it reminds me of Tails, which, by the way, shout out to the founder of Tails.com from last tab. Hit me up. He's like, I'm a huge fan of the pod. Thanks for shouting us out. But this is song.
Yeah, he was also like, what word do you think would work well instead of podcast? And I was like, I'm sorry, brother. I was just talking shit. You're doing just fine.
When he DM'd me, Spencer, I realized I've been following him forever. I knew I'd seen that.
Oh, really?
Somewhere.
Well, I'm not gonna. We'll see what happens with Songfinch. I hope we don't talk too much shit about Songfinch.
Sorry, we're interjecting. We have a word from our sponsors. Tails. Do you want to have a personal experience with your loved one that you can keep and treasure forever? At Tails, we sit down and do a podcast style oral history with your loved one, so you can commemorate those memories.
You on the website reading this?
No, I'm just spitting.
By the way, save the ad read because you have a better ad read. I thought, Oren. I thought you had a better read.
Oh, yeah, coming. That's coming later.
It's coming later.
It's coming in the NFT section.
So Songfinch is these basically songs on demand, right? And so they create like custom songs for you, and I think it's sort of it reminded me of Cameo, right? I just mean like there's like an interesting space right now which is happening, which is like hyper personalized content that people are paying a premium for, right?
Ooh,
for specific scenarios.
Trend alert.
Trend alert. Colin, do you have the club siren for the trend alert?
I don't have it on.
It's
deck,
okay.
sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, trend alert. So hyper personalized content. But so it's weird is that some of the stuff they do, it's like weird stuff. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's cool. Like they make some great stuff, but like retirement, like you can get a custom retirement fund. It's like one of their.
You've worked so hard and got so far, but in the end,
yeah. But the best part, I would love to fire someone that way.
Because your 401k dipped.
I think that'd be the way to fire everyone. You give them a retirement song. No, but it's anyway. It's just a cool idea.
Colin, I will order one of these. I'll order one of these for Marnie if you order one of these for Kelsey for Valentine's Day. No other gift allowed. It has to just be the song.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the turnaround time? I'm really into that.
You can choose.
What's
you guys
the
do
turnaround?
country.
I'm trying to.
I think a rap hip hop one would be great. So anyway, this you can play a bunch of samples.
Do they do Italian in here so James can send it to the model, or is that
No Italian, no. But no, listen. I think it's a cool idea. I'm not sure it's for me, but I love concepts like this. I think there's a ton of opportunity in weird things like this. I'm not sure about the scalability of it. You know what sucks is every time
the upsells are fire.
Why? What are some of the upsells in there?
The upsells, the upsells are like song and sheet music added to streaming services. 2-pack of CDs, vinyl.
Sick.
I'm just like, this is great. The added to streaming services is really the one being like.
So back in the day,
I'm pulling this out right now.
That was the old hustle I know people used to run for getting verified on certain channels. Was if you were on.
Oh yeah, that's how I got my verification. Was put the iTunes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that was it. It was iTunes. If you were on iTunes, you could get verified. And I remember that's like a decade ago. Though I'm sure that's going down. If not, that's the real alpha alert right now. That still works.
Oren's long since changed his username.
Yeah. It's actually funny. The verification kept with me throughout the first username change. It went away, and it came back like 5 weeks later, and I was like, "Fucking, let's go." But it's funny because this is how we got it. Is Marnie was representing all these artists, and she was like, and she got like Iggy Azalea verified or something like that. Like some of that, and I was like, "Damn, you can just do that." She's like, "Yeah, all you have to do is on iTunes, and like 3 press links." And I was like, "Here's my Us Weekly link. Here's my New York Post link, and my boys on iTunes. Let's go."
We're on iTunes right now, right? I mean, Tap Talk's on iTunes right now.
Yep.
Get us some blue checks. I hope someone buys this. I'm very curious. I want to see when it actually comes out. It's a cool idea. I have no idea what my use case is.
If I bought this for Marnie and told her that I wrote it, I think she'd be very happy.
Definitely, man.
Ooh,
I'm not actually going to write it. Hip hop love songs? I said it's a hard set of choices. Is it like?
I feel like it's got to be
rap.
It's got to be a weird genre, like a rap. I don't know.
Nah, I want one of those songs where like the people have like a woodblock and they say, "Hey." You know
what I like? If you guys go to the artist section really quick, you go to artists and rap hip hop. Everyone's got like everyone's got their real normal headshots. It's like they're professional. You just keep scrolling, and then I want to give a shout out to Ahmad Music, who just has a gold. It says Simple Things with a Z on the end, and a gold grill. And it's just like a cover from a mixtape you could buy out of a trunk.
Straight up like a Juvenile.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Like a Juvenile, like a Hot Boys, like a 504 Boys, like that sort of. Like that's a different.
Yo, they got Slake Dransky on here. Sorry, I'm joking.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a cool idea. They do Slake Dransky on here?
Yeah, I'm doing folk. I can't. I'm saying that we should talk. We'll talk about this offline. This is the Valentine's Day.
I'm super into it.
I'm about to just start buying them for any girl that I'm seeing. I'm just about to be like, listen, I want to be might be weird. My friends don't know I write songs.
Yo, just any girl.
That's part of the onboarding pack. Part of the onboarding.
Palisades, Erewhon. You're like, hey, can I send you a song?
All right. Let's keep it going. What's up next? I love this next tab. Colin, break it down.
All right, I'm realizing before I say this that as I say
you don't want to say it?
I'm gonna have to make a move.
No, don't do it.
No, I'm gonna have to make a move on it.
No,
I'm gonna have to make a move on it. It's fine. I've been thinking about it forever.
Yeah, bro, drop them stats, brother.
We'll just bleep it. We'll just bleep it later.
By the time this comes out, it's already a wrap.
No, we can switch it up if you want. I'm dead serious. Like if you don't want to do it, okay.
No, let's go. Force the hand. So the tab is landforce.com.
Boom.
Which has been registered but not available pretty much as long as I can remember. My personal website is landforce.co. And I've just been looking at this thing for years now. Just kind of like when do I pull the trigger? It is available. It's a few $1,000, but I was just thinking about it again the other day. Like the value of that to me is like not going to go down at any point in the future. Sure. I don't think there's any point where I ever regret having that, unless like the internet goes away. And so might have to move on it. And just generally wanted to talk about domains. I retweeted one of Andrew Gazdecki's tweets today about buying ridiculous domains. I think Oren probably registered a domain today. I think I've registered one in the last week. So just wanted to. James also had a tweet about
down.
it. Yeah, double dip. Just wanted to talk about domains. What are y'all's
you guys rocking
like,
your
personal
your
website
.eth?
domains?
Yeah. I'm
not that.
orenjohn.com. I got the 8-letter, brother.
That's solid.
But
James?
oren.com, I'm looking at it. James, what you got? Nanoflips.biz?
Nanoflips.biz.co. It's the 2 dots. I actually I've always felt like the worst. The UK has it the worst ever because it's .co.uk.
Yeah.
Which is it's not even just .uk. It's .co.
Like built in.
It's very United Kingdom. We love all of our hustlers out there in Wales, in Cambridge, Oxford, Manchester. You guys are getting that money online for the UK, but your core root level domain is trash. It is what it is.
It is trash. So I think the domain, this is in my mind the original NFT. Obviously, it's not on a blockchain, but like this is like the digital version of like the singular, only one person owns it. Really clear, one person owns it. I think the domain.
Well, it was the OG digital real estate. This was like the prompt. Like you've now expanded the digital real estate canon across a myriad of potential asset classes, but this was the OG asset class that started it all.
100%.
I remember I sold my first domain when I was like 23, and it was like something to do with I bought a bunch of like casino related domains or gambling related domains. It was like Riverboat Gambling or some shit, and like and I was like, this is amazing. All these things I've been sitting on for $10. I just got $1,700. Like let's keep the drip alive.
When I
so I've got on. Go ahead. No, I got a good story.
I was gonna say real quick when I had Liquid Offers, the CPA network, and we had our Incent network. I went to this domainers forum, and there was a website, a domain called uploadforever.com, and it was literally just had parking on it. So domain parking is just for anyone who doesn't know. You can park a domain. They will put like a search engine on the domain, so whenever someone comes to it, if they click on any links or search for anything, you get paid per click. But we took that domain. I spent like $5,000 on that domain. Built an entire file hosting website on top of it, and then took all that traffic that was coming and looking for old files to that domain, and then they all started using Upload Forever, the file hosting website, and then we content locked all the downloads to fill out a CPA offer, like and your email for an iPhone.
Yo, James, the level of hustles that James has had in his life for someone who's only 44 is like, he was telling us earlier about the bamboo toothbrush hustle. We had the Upload Forever arbitrage. It's truly impressive. I thought I had a lot of hustles, and I have had a lot of weird ones. And this
the Upload Forever one was a real one though. We sold that for good money. But anyway, that's enough.
That's fire.
Go for it.
Let's go. Is that one of the two exits? Or is that a separate exit?
Yeah, is that one of the exits? So years and years ago, my buddy's brewing beer and wanted to start a brewery and wanted to call it Locals Knowledge. And so for him, I registered localsknowledge.com, right? It then expired because my thing, when I register a domain, I give it the 1 year. I do not put auto renew on. And a year later, if I still want it,
as all you kids should. This is at the pro tip over the wise. Do the same thing. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, it expires, and then like at least 3 years later, I don't know what I was looking at, but I like look for the domain localsknowledge.com. I'm like, this is kind of a hot domain. I feel like I've seen it somewhere. I'm gonna register it. I registered it again. Go back, realize it was the same domain I'd had before. I go back, look at the registration history, realize yes, this was in fact the domain that I had. I obviously go and talk some shit about how I got his domain to my buddy, and then some guy in Texas emails me wanting to buy it, and I sell it for $750. The second time I owned it.
And this is the dream that I know all you guys who are sitting on blah 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 blah. Don't hold your requests up in the club.net. I know that's the dream you're looking for. It's probably not going to happen to you. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
No, it's about making smart bets, right? I saw this. I was just looking because Upload Forever, which I spent like $5,000 on it like a decade ago or more, which is probably like $10,000 today. Then sold it as part of like a CPA network that was doing real revenue stuff. Is now I could buy for $500. I kind of want to buy it for $500 because I know that was like part of it, like a really big thing.
$500 just for the memories, memories are the real alpha.
Fuck, I might have to do it.
Yo, wait. So, what is it? Upload forever upload.
Upload with the number 4ever.com.
And when you bought it, was it just it was just the domain?
When I bought it, it was just domain making like $35 a day, just because. So it had been a file hosting website. File hosting website went down, and then when it was down, the person that bought it just had it as parked with domain parking.
Sure.
and it was making $30 a day passively, and I bought it, and we just rebuilt a different file hosting site, and then all those links got redirects. So when you go to like a link, when someone would click trying to download a file, they would then be brought to like, oh, you need to sign up. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I think this is a good segue into the topic we had talked about. I think it's come up on the pod before, but things like just having a power domain, like Sam Ovens having consulting.com.
Oh, God.
And, and just like some of these, like being able to have landforce.com or, or like, and some of these, I know Hermosi had a few, like James, you had a couple examples of this.
Yeah. Hermosi has acquisitions.com, which is like, that's a great,
it's hot.
Like some of these are, and it's like, okay, well, how much of the flex is like if I have Oren.com?
Or
is that enough of a flex?
I think
builders.build.
Honestly, builders.build is the hot one. But,
it's so good.
So well, those are like, it's like, okay, cool, that's dope. And then you have like consulting.com.
Yeah,
obviously.
But
how much is that flex worth? Like, so if you're getting money, is that worth 100K flex? Because a lot of those domains could be like 100K.
I bet consulting.com was more than 100 even. You know what I mean? Like, because I think consulting.com, you're competing with like
whatever it could be
multi-billion-dollar consulting firms, right? Like I think any consulting firm.
Well, this is the tool that you're about to release. That's the digital asset pricing aggregator, where you move the sliders on the rarity, put some of these in, and spits out a potential price for you.
Yeah, that's
SAS is launching.
I'm James. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He gives you so much trouble. I'm sorry.
I was trying to get my man to launch a SaaS. Can we get, what I'm saying, the nailflips.app, brother?
Trying to launch
so what's the best domain either of y'all have had or have? Just like it can be arbitrary. Just like
I think maybe Upload Server. I know it doesn't sound so great, but like anything that just brings in just as a domain name sitting there, like that just brings in money, is pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean,
I know I have some friends that own deposits.com, and that's a pretty interesting one. But like the question really becomes is like I believe that the super premium domain names, deposits.com, creditcards.com, things like that, I think that are only going to become worth more money. Like I would make bets on that, and I believe Rally Road started buying domain names and then
doing domains. Interesting.
For like super premium, and I think that's a good bet. Like I would buy if I could buy a 10% slice of a domain like deposits.com or consulting.com. I would. I believe it'll be worth more in 20 years. There's just no way it's not in my mind. I think. Road domain.
Couldn't agree more.
Oren, best domain.
Oh, I don't think any good. I had a bunch of like I would always do like the long, like kind of like long tail niche things,
right?
And I only ever sold that one off of them, and then I ended up going. I have like a bunch of tactical level domains. I don't have anything good. I was happy to get Oren John, where I was like, that's 8 letters.
That's solid
with the .com, but I don't know. What about you?
Related, I own extremelyniche.com.
Really?
It's like my WooCommerce. It's like my WooCommerce playground.
I love it.
It's like connected to like a print-on-demand site. I think it might be skinned like Kelsey's like the Glowless site right now because we like developed that on there.
I can tell you guys an extremely niche long tail one that I sold. That was the only drop shipping store I've ever owned. Cheapsmokingaccessories.com. And that's just because we were doing we were doing a few million visits a year to the
we were doing a few million a year in industrial hemp.
No, we were doing a few million visits a year to the Podstock website, and so sometimes we would mention like something would get mentioned, and then we were just like, screw this. Why don't we just build with Oberlo and Shopify? Why don't we just build a dropshipping store? And every time there's a link that or mentions like the word bong or rolling papers or anything, we just plug it in. And cheapsmokingaccessories.com was just full on just like pretty passive income, just on its own. So definitely not the coolest domain I've ever owned, though. That's for sure. Pretty far from it, to be honest with you.
Hope.
All right, what we got?
What else we got?
What's the next tab?
Oren, this is you.
To you.
All right. So is this me? All right. So this is called Mapping the Celebrity NFT Complex, and actually before that, we're gonna get started with a word from our sponsor, Bonecoin, brought to you by Frank's Red Hot. Bonecoin, take a picture of all of your wing bones, send them in for a chance to win NFTs and prizes, ? And that is not an actual ad read, but it is actually a concept that we have seen from Frank's Red Hot's NFT concept involving taking pictures of your bones, which is like some murder shit, which I appreciate coming from a like household kitchen pantry staple.
It's the weirdest thing in the world.
But that wasn't the link. All right, so the actual link was Mapping the Celebrity NFT Complex. This is basically they're like starting to chart out like there's so many like even if you're in this world, it's hard to keep up with just how much is happening on the celebrity side of this now, because like that doesn't cross over into like money Twitter or real NFT Twitter. It only exists in its own little like celebrity vacuum of like, what's Mila Kunis's approach to NFTs? But it's happening like at massive scale now. And so they start to map it out, and it's like, oh, do we think this person learned about it because, you know, like they're friends with Jeff Goldblum and he heard about it and he owns a Bored Ape, and like they're starting to really like map where all this is coming from. But the general idea is like it's just gone super far. Like apparently there's some sort of NFT show where you can own NFTs of the characters that Aston Kutcher produced, and like Vitalik from ETH is like a character, like actually on the show. And it's like, you know, like Tony Hawk's out here getting canceled for doing NFTs, and kids are getting like fans coming at him like 18,000 times over.
It's crazy.
And so it's just like truly the Wild West, because these people are doing like just some horrible shit because we're not there yet, right? And they're just doing completely ridiculous stuff because NFTs are hype and there's celebrities trying to like use their attention complex to get there, and it's really leading to like very weird stuff. And this starts to detail out how many there are, like Justin Bieber and all that. I'm just like, what is happening?
Well, I want to say
this kind of ties back to the Flow Rider NFT tab.
Yeah.
From way back.
But that wasn't even a real NFT. These are like on the blockchain. Yeah, but yes, it does tie to that. This is just like the natural extension of that. Was like there's only going to be like hundreds more, but it's gotten so strange. And now I start to understand more of like when normies are like, NFTs are destroying the wilderness. This is crazy. Blah blah. It's because like the version that they're seeing is like some sensationalist,
so awful.
Article, and then like Camila Cabello's like buy my NFT. I'm like, well,
Well, I'll
you
tell
can
you,
buy my gym shorts. It's an NFT.
You mentioned the show from Ashton Kutcher, so I believe actually to intertwine the two, I was watching Hot Ones, which is actually really entertaining.
Yeah, Frank's Red Hot. Shout out the gods.
And on Hot Ones, Mila Kunis was on it, and she was talking about that TV show that they have specifically. But interestingly enough, the reason I think this is super cool is because I have some friends who are very successful fund managers, and like the way they run their funds is they're like tracking where CEOs are flying to and stuff, right? They're not looking at, there's no technicals in the charts and stuff, but like they are like understanding like the lifestyle of these multi-billion-dollar CEOs and C-suite. And like there's some cool Twitter accounts that will talk about if like someone is unfollowed, like it'll track like VCs or track like CEOs and be like
like big tech follows. Or,
you know what I'm talking about? I'd say like, and those are interesting indicators.
Yeah.
And so what are the weird, interesting indicators like this of like how you could see like where money is flowing? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just an interesting conceptually to think about.
Actually, that's it's interesting. When I was in college, one of the last jobs I had in college that like after I was done with like fast food and bar backing and shit was I worked as a research assistant for some like offshoot of the university that was like researching whether it was like connections or backgrounds or something between executives and CEOs. And so I was literally going and like on primitive internet and like using some like databases they have, being like, oh, well, was this CEO like in this fraternity or in these like what like groups and associations, and like, and then they were using some sort of analysis to find like the patterns within it. And it's interesting how far that's come now, because this is pretty rudimentary back in the day. I'm like querying databases and shit.
Yo, I was just imagining you as a bar back and being like the most intense bar back.
I wasn't like this for like the extended part of my life. I was nothing like my current personality, even definitely not before 21. And then certainly, and then like even afterwards, like it took a while.
You're unique.
Working your way up the ranks at the bar.
I was just
cutting limes and shit, brother. You know how this shit goes.
to talk about the tap for a second. And to think about like
my bad.
No, it's cool. I think we should in the same way that we're going to give me the job as an undercover bartender, I think we should get Oren as a job as an undercover bar back somewhere. We should all do that.
Yeah, but I can't walk in now. Even if I was in complete disguise, like the swagger would be so ridiculous. Like walking into that place, everyone would be like, "Yo, is that the owner?" It would just be, it wouldn't work.
Like a mustache and like a wig on. Do you guys ever watch Undercover Boss? How bad the gear the gear is on them. But anyway, so when I was thinking about the hedge fund stuff related to like mapping out how celebrities are doing stuff, it's like imagine there's a company saying that they're looking at potentially like working with another company, and you can see that there's like only 10 companies in the space, and then you can track which airplane has landed at the airport, right? You might be able to then buy call options on that.
Connect
People
dots.
also do that with commodities markmarkets and shipping.
This is why it's impossible to believe that Ghislaine Maxwell didn't expose any customers.
No. Then I know there's commodities traders that will look at shipping lanes for oil, and so you can do you have a tab with oil shipping lanes at one point? Was that one thing early on?
Yeah, we did. We had it with the index.
Price index.
But anyway,
So
so
there's since Billions is like basically real life, right? So there's been several episodes of Billions where they're looking at satellite data, watching like trucks leave factories, and like I said, since that's
from the
real,
headlines,
dude, along those lines, you guys really got to watch. I know I've mentioned on the pod before. There's a great documentary on Amazon Prime about Chinese reverse merger fraud, and a lot of the way that they start figuring out that these fake companies on the Nasdaq are fraud is from like trucks and the warehouses, and like they're talking about doing like $800 million in revenue, and one truck leaves the warehouse like once a day, and it's like
we had like when we were doing way more aggressive stuff in China in a previous business, like there's a guy on the ground whose entire job was to be like, that factory we went to, is it still there? Was it there 2 days later? Was it there a month later? And did it look the same? And like, because when they give the tours and stuff, they'll throw up entire factories for tours and then just be gone to sell you the thing. Or they'll show you when you show up, it's like, oh, there's no children working,
Damn.
Yeah.
it was like there was that company. I think they're gone now, but there's a big LP out of Canada called CanTrust for a long time, a cannabis company. And so in Canada, the
Trust was
regulators
right there in the name.
yeah, you should have known. But in Canada, the regulators are called Health Canada, right? And so like Health Canada, there's like I'm assuming it's the same for the US, but like you get approved for X amount of square footage or X amount of yield for growing, right? Maybe it's not the same in the US, but definitely in Canada it was. And they'd only been approved for X amount of grow rooms. So Health Canada would come do tours to see, and they were on the NASDAQ, to come do tours and check on things. And they put up false walls. They put up full-on false walls and hid like massive grow rooms. And then like it was like a big expose someone like showed that, like, and we're giving tours and they're like, and here's where the grow stops. And then the reality was like there's just a wall and like they're like 800,000 square feet behind it of cannabis.
Because God knows they needed to grow more weed in Canada. There wasn't enough weed, so we had to
there's a hay
break the
shortage.
rules
They're
to
trying to
grow
use
more.
the excess of the other.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to all my ankle biters, small independent growers in Canada. I see you doing God's work, growing that fire. Stay you.
Yeah. Everyone I know in Canada thinks that all the legal cannabis is terrible. Okay, cool. Should we go to the next tab, or you guys want to talk more about NFT complex?
Next tab. Do we want to interject, and you can give us like a in-depth guide through your journey in the metaverse?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
You took a trip recently, correct?
I took a trip through a Quest 2. I hopped on board the Zuck train. And I'm going to tell you, I was like giggling and pumped because I thought it was the Zuck bus. Sounds like no one should be on the Zuck bus. But I was really excited because I thought it was going to be horrific. And I've tried, I know Oren, you had said that you thought it was bad too. But I had tried one before, like a long time ago. And I thought it was pretty bad. And I remember, like, I had a Virtual Boy when I was a kid. Virtual Boy was like this big thing you put in your face. It was like all red, and you could only play like tennis on it. Anyway, from Nintendo. And so I envisioned it being really bad. And I set it up, and I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. And then I started really using it, and it's not phenomenal, but it was much better than I thought it'd be, A. And B, it's so clear that if this is like the beta, if this is like sort of like the early entryway into it, like when it's not this giant thing I got thrown in my head, and it's just like a Google Glass or something, or a contact lens, and it's like, and everything looks better. And there's no question that this is, whether it's through Meta and Oculus, I don't know, but there's no question that this sort of level of VR is really, really the future. And then I think it opens up a more interesting question about sort of, we've talked about this before, about class divide stuff, because my friend was like, oh, what if you want to go to like an island like Bali? Like, well, in the future, if you're rich, you're going to travel in real life, and you'll go experience Bali, and you'll go experience all these places. And if you're not, you'll sit and throw on your Oculus, your Quest 2, and you'll get a really shitty version of it. And I think what's going to happen is a much, much, much larger class divide, in which only the ultra wealthy get to like really see real life versus versus the metaverse. So,
yeah, you see that one picture of like the homeless guy in San Francisco, like wearing the Oculus, and then like,
dude, if I was homeless, I would want the Oculus. That shit is sick. You go into a movie theater and like you pick which movie you want to go sit down and watch, and then you walk into the actual theater, you sit down in a chair, and then in full screen, the entire size of being in a movie theater, I watched Spider-Man in 3D. Like it's kind of crazy. And then we could all meet up. We could all meet up at the theater.
Yeah, with our avatars. You see what I'm saying? Light groping, no groping. What's the?
So the actual VR was good. Like, was it compelling?
It was.
Like,
did it seem real?
Would you ever do it again?
Yeah, I would 100%.
No, I mean, was it compelling? Was it interesting? Was it cool?
I thought about buying it. I mean, I think I was dead sober. I think candidly, if I had consumed a little bit of cannabis, it probably would have been like one of the coolest experiences of my life. And yeah, it did seem cool. There was parts of it that I think seemed stupid, like a lot of like the weird interacting with people, like that was kind of weird. I felt like it was funny, but like if I wanted to, I played this pinball game, and I would never today be like, let's go play pinball. But if you're out, pinball can be kind of fun. Whatever. My point is, it was just a really simple game, but the mechanics of it, it was the physics of playing pinball, like the way the ball moved, the way it worked, like felt like I was actually playing pinball, and that was really cool to me. And I can imagine in a place like I can imagine like actually watching a movie, like if I wanted to go to a movie theater and I couldn't go to a movie, or I was like living in a rural part of the country or something, like I can imagine putting on my Quest 2 and like going into this virtual movie theater and sitting down, because it feels like the experience of sitting in a movie theater. And what's interesting is that after about 5 minutes of it, you forget that like I forgot that I was in a room with 6 other people, right? And that they were all watching like UFC and laughing at me and taking videos of me, right? Like in real life. And like that was
watching Spider-Man.
And I was watching Spider-Man, but that's when it clicked for me. Like, whoa, this is crazy, because I actually have forgotten that I'm sitting in my friend's living room, surrounded by people, and like that's magical. The fact that I actually had forgotten that was compelling. To answer your question,
that you could have been with real people and instead.
Yeah, but this is going to be the norm, right? For anyone that's living in like a tier 2 city and below, you're just going to be in this all day. You know,
no, really, really, really. But I think it's you guys saw that article. Obviously, we were making a joke about it, not about what happened in it, but that people are getting groped and raped in this metaverse, and so it starts to bring up this interesting question though about like, I was making jokes and my friend was like, "Where's the chat room? Like, where do I go get the H-sex location chat room? You know, like how do I go? You know, like that's this weird stuff that I think exists when we were younger, which is people being weird in chat rooms and stuff, right? Like that.
Yeah, my man dropping the ASL, you know, little Easter eggs out there for the culture. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's I think that this opens the doors for that times 10,000. And I'm sure it already happens in like World of Warcraft and Second Life and big, you know, massive multiplayer online RPG stuff. But it was like weird because you could be a young girl, right? And you could pretend to be making friends. It's just kind of weird and like creepy the way that it opens the doors for people to be whoever they want to be.
It's a whole unexplored world, and obviously like curated by Facebook, which is so like bland. You know, it's going to be interesting to see the edgy version. I remember trying the Quest 1 and like returning it. We got it for like Christmas one year or something like that. Yeah, and then we had a VR rig in our office at the agency. We're looking at getting into it, like, hey, is this a vertical we want to go in? And I went to one of the trade shows where they're doing all the enterprise stuff. It's like construction and blah, blah, blah. And it was all like, I tried probably 40 products, and these companies like, oh, everyone is too early. Like, none of this is actually useful at all. It's purely like Microsoft HoloLens because Microsoft is spending money to look like they're on the edge of technology. Like, there was nothing else happening. But then it's like, I look back, I'm like, oh shit, that was like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. How much things can change since then. Be interesting to see.
I've been looking at race and car simulators a lot, right? And those are like, big, super GPU intensive, crazy monitors with crazy refresh rates. And then when I'm diving down the rabbit hole of these videos, you also see videos from VR rigs.
VR. Yeah. Did you look at that Varjo one? Yeah, there's some of these ones, the Varjo VR, because there's some of this VR where your field of view is 4K, and it's like crazy.
Yeah. Like, so I like seeing those, like the race simulator VR. I don't know that like my inner ear could handle it, like without me getting nauseous, but it is bananas, and like super compelling, which is why I was asking if the like metaverse experience on them was. But I don't know what the difference is between those rigs and like what you can go buy from Best Buy.
If you guys remember Boyle's Law, right, and the speed at which
pressure and gas. Yeah.
No, the Moore's Law stuff though, right? Like in all seriousness, right? Like the fact is that like I've found it compelling today. It's unequivocal to me. Like, there's no question that in the next decade, this is going to be compelling and like, in a really crazy way. I don't know if we're going to fully go into this like we all live in the metaverse thing. I don't think we're getting plugged in yet, like the Matrix. But like, it is going to become something that like, as long as you can handle it. To Colin's point about sort of feeling nauseous and stuff, right? Which I think some people feel, right? Like, is really well done. Like, really, really well done. And sort of more than it opens up the question when you put it on. You can actually see through the headset and see the real world around you, and you have to like tell it where the floor is.
Augmented.
Yeah, so it shows augmented, and that was a reminder to me that like that's going to be a really interesting space too, right? Of like and to circle back to NFT stuff, right? Like really candidly, like what's a stupid, silly use case for NFTs? Okay, your avatar wants a different watch or shirt, and you want to wear a Rick Owens jacket in the metaverse, Oren. Well, you're gonna have to pay for the Rick Owens NFT jacket. You know what I mean? Like
he goes, nope.
Good for me. We NFT'd in real life. I'm going to the metaverse. I'm dressed totally normal. I'm wearing some Levi's. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You trying to take a James fit to try to take a Colin James fit to the metaverse?
Yeah, I'm trying to take James fit. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Levi's,
black
tee. You know what I mean? True classic tee or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I feel you. All right, let's go to my last tab.
Yeah, the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy times Tab Talk collab is for season 2.
All right, let's go to the last tab so we can finish this up.
Last tab
is this website. It's one work without the O in work, so ONEWRK.com. And this is an interesting tab just because these are some guys I spoke to through Twitter. And what One Work does is they optimize video for content marketing. So what they do is they take one large long form piece of video content and they chop it up and they turn it into little bits and pieces for distribution for content marketing. And I think that everyone always forgets that even all the social stuff that like I'm doing on Twitter, right? That's content marketing, right? It's just like putting out content and hoping that sort of that ends up converting. But clearly we have the hottest podcast in the world, and very few people know about it. So we've been trying to figure out distribution channels for the 100 of you to listen. Please share this with all your friends at every moment you can, because that's part of the distribution we need. But part of it is thinking about like what are the better ways that we can take this content that we're making now, chop it up and bring it to other channels where we think it might work better. So yeah, the reason I picked this tab is not only is it apropos for us, but I really get interested in sort of like what are the pickaxes and shovels of creator economy and of the new sort of like the new media that exists today. Because everyone wants to be a creator, and I think very few people are going to become very successful in that space. But it's like the gold rush. Like, what can you for sure make money in?
Yeah, if you just buy your Notion content workflow for $49.99 and your ring light and
and you're good to go. And that's all you need. But no, what are the other pickaxe and shovels? Notion content workflows, like whatever it is, right? Like there are major opportunities here for people that like, okay, you see that you see the high tide rising in creator economy and new media, but you're not a person who feels comfortable on camera and you want to figure out a way to make money off it. Alpha alert, like there's so many opportunities. Free game. There's so many opportunities to sort of ride that wave through pickaxes and shovels without you being involved in it necessarily, right? Even like to be as vague as
analytics tools or marketplaces for any of these, for any of the things that are trying to get sales. I think a lot of it's going to be like connecting people. Like if you have a Discord where it's like, there's 100 people in this Discord and everyone's legit and we're all working together and active. And if you're not in the mix, like we're getting rid of you, like that kind of stuff is going to crank. Like
100%.
We don't pay money to be inside that right now,
100%. So there's nothing super, other than we're maybe gonna try these guys out. I love this concept. I think there's obviously lots of people to do this.
Yeah, we gotta hit them with the brief.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit them.
7-day turnaround is a no go though. We gotta find something else.
True. Let me hit them with this brief right now.
7-day turnaround. What is this? 2009?
Oh, it's 7 days. So it's 7 day for the first project, and then 24 hours once it's like dialed in. That makes sense.
But yeah.
So you're saying creator economy is a trend?
Yeah, trend alert.
It's more of a fad, I think.
It's more of a fad.
For all our McKinsey listeners, our Gartner listeners, Gartner, you doing your Magic Quadrants out there? Content creator economy. Let's go.
It's the future.
Put that over in the full quadrant, brother.
But that's all I got on it. That's all I got on it, to be honest with you.
So related to this is a little build in public moment for the Tab Talk universe. So we got to hit them with the same brief. I hit 4 Fiverr gigs with the brief for editing, weekly editing of our podcast and the video related to it.
No, bro. We're going to get sweaty startups, bro. They're going to be like, you guys are subbing out your video to the Philippines. I'm be like, look, you understand, we really don't have any money. But it's not going to go well. We're using only American talent.
Never.
All around the world.
I have a bunch of jokes I can make here, but all of them would, result in.
They're not going to hit.
Nothing good. Yeah. But seriously, we should brief these guys. I've already gotten responses from everybody I hit. We got to put it together, compare and contrast. Maybe we test them all.
Helping people make their trash content is the picks and shovels.
Absolutely.
Help people edit and go through their whackness and to see if it gets anywhere.
Absolutely.
And we can share. Well,
I would like to clarify. While we do not have a huge audience, our audience is actually significantly larger than what James alluded to. And I feel bad because this is totally me because I bash on the pod all the time inside the group chat. Being I got more streams, like, you know, da da da. It's but it is actually
cheerleader.
Yeah. But it is actually significantly better than what James alluded to, and I feel bad because I've obviously sent him on a downward spiral, and really I should be uplifting my fellow kings. So you guys, guess what? You know what? It might not be the biggest audience in the game. You know who reaches out to me? Heads of state. Banks, so like,
politicians.
The alpha is, is outlandish, and I actually mean that completely. The heads of state may be a stretch, but titans of industry is not.
I will also say it doesn't help that Oren is the only one who sees the stats. So whenever Colin and I are curious about like what the stats are,
we're in the dark. It's probably huge.
You don't want to,
dude. No,
Oren's just trying to keep us grounded,
dude. Yeah, but we'll just get a text. Everyone listening will get a text, and they'll be like, "This is the worst pod launch we've ever had." Like, just so you guys know, like, this is terrible.
Just a reminder, this is absolutely bad. It's been a week and a half. The video's not even up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we? The videos don't even have our names in the fucking descriptions. And then it'll be
they do. Yeah, they do. Exporting from Riverside FM. If you guys are listening, like, one way or another. The timeline editor thing's it needs work.
And granted, it is absolutely better than nothing. It is just not the thing. But we believe you can get there.
It's unusable for a video that's an hour long when you can only flip 5 seconds at a time.
So what we really should we should be moving to micropods. You know what I'm saying? Every tab is a pod, and so we just drop like 6 pods every year.
We could do one a day.
Daily. Season 1's daily. Season 2's daily. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you guys look at the
twice daily.
If you look at some of the data
Seth
on sort of
Godin,
the length that hit songs are becoming shorter, right? It's just an attention. Right, it's just like the attention span is going lower because of TikTok, essentially. So it may be that we're just trying to fight the rising tide of shorter attention.
But TikTok's alternating that up. They're doing their test in 5-minute videos now. They're coming for YouTube.
We can also try Iris, by the way. Iris.fm seems to be a competitor. Riverside.fm, don't kick us off the platform if you're listening. We may try something different. I'll send you.
Hopefully the
last pod still really was trash.
So I got a little insider scoop here. I want to apologize to you guys. I kind of got sidetracked when we were talking about SEO things and opened up Ahrefs. Then I pulled up the card site. Bros, it did $1,300 in January. It's done $350 so far this month.
And that's the mailbox money, right?
I'm just saying, all those followers, bro, they just want you to go back to cards. You know what I'm saying? You're tweeting about you got that writer's block. All they want is that original Landforce Alpha. Just every day, break it down.
Wrap your head around this. So in January...
Karis LeVert rookie's going the fuck off right now. You know what I'm saying?
I got some. In January, it drove $42,000 in sales.
You're doing $500,000 a year in GMV for eBay?
Yeah. That's outrageous.
That's crazy. I love that.
Outrageous. Let's go.
How many eBay sponsor the pod? You know what I mean? Like,
let's go with this. If we're going with the mailbox money, and so let's go real quick to my dog frizzy website.
If we're going with money that we referred through and took a very small percentage of, let's open the wheels.
Because this is what's funny.
Called affiliate.
There's a lot of this way.
That's a way better way to look at affiliate commissions, James.
GMV. It sounds it sounds beast. We should just take an affiliate network public.
I'm doing $500,000 on a side project. $500,000 GMV on a side project.
That's where the ARB is on the TikTok creators. You put in the handle, it's supposed to how many followers they have. Fucking done.
So hold on. So on bestdogfrisbee.com in the past 30 days, I've shipped items revenue. So Amazon shows you the ship revenue, right? Everything. My GMV for Amazon is $282. So nowhere near Colin's, but I made a fresh $11.57 in total mailbox money, passive income.
But this is just what you're willing to show. This was just on the example project for the nano flips. You know what I'm saying, right? Like inside your vast.
I hope that's not the example
project.
Yeah. I hope that's not the example project for nano flips.
This is the one that I wanted to show. I mean, listen, we could go through the old MJ Observer stuff. But you got to pay. You got to pay to see that.
Yeah, you guys behind the paywall.
Behind the paywall.
But the dogfish stuff is
you got to go to landforce.com for that.
But yeah, no, actually, the GMV way is a funny way to look at it. The idea that you're pumping out $500,000 in sales for.
Yeah, what's the TAM on dogfish fees?
Yeah, I bet Jungle Scout could give us what is the top selling frisbee on Amazon?
I think for me, it's the Chuck It Paraflight Flyer Dog Frisbee by Toy Floats. That's the one that has the most orders.
What kind of volume?
We're doing it.
But that's Chuck It brand. That's like a big brand.
Is it? I don't know. I got a pet mate.
Yeah, you guys want ARB? Knock off. It's now Ruck It. You know what I mean? Drop it on Amazon.
Ruck It. Nerf has a dog frisbee. Sick. Yeah,
all right.
Nerf deep. Nerf has it's like the tentacles of the toy empire. Just Nerf, you start doing too much. Nerf like taps you in the shoulder. Like,
I'm sure, dude.
That's our turf.
Relax.
Firesteed's another one. That's a great.
Is it time for a hard outro?
It might be.
We still got we got segments. We got to do James explains Ubuntu.
Oh, I do know what Ubuntu is though. It starts with a U, right? Yeah, Ubuntu.
Just figured out.
Yeah, it is a language, right? It's like Drupal, right? Or like Joomla, right? It's like a CMS. It's like a CMS. Am I wrong? Wait, I'm like pretty sure.
Close to that, but not quite.
You're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
But it's not a CMS.
Because I just feel like I've seen it.
We got to give him some. You can't.
No, that was
in
all fairness. You didn't think I was going to get that. You thought that was a decent guess, though, right?
Who does you? The last one you actually already knew.
But you got
who is
pull something out the CTO playbook right now, bro.
James explains who is Shea Serrano.
Shea Serrano, bro. Shea Serrano.
Yo, man, you are hella white. Let's go.
Shea Serrano. So Shea Serrano. You ever been to Cece's Pizza? You're in a Cece's Pizza Kitchen Cafe.
You're actually kind of close.
But you know Serrano ham? You know where I'm going with this, right? Have you ever had Serrano ham? It's like a kind of ham that is like cured in a certain way.
With the chilies.
With the chilies, and then you buy it at Chili's, and then Shea Serrano was the inventor of Serrano ham. It's like a Hamon Iberico, but more out of the Midwest region of the United States. That's what Serrano ham is.
All right. Pulled that together nicely.
He's a noted
Shea Serrano,
Latin American author and Spurs fan.
Yeah, he's a basketball writer.
Yeah, he wrote the book of basketball and the book of hip hop and all those ones.
Author.
He's also prolific on Twitter.
This book sitting on my coffee table. Yeah, he's huge on Twitter.
Big on Twitter. That's the name of my book.
I think he's one of those where his community is so active and he interacts with them so actively that you have to just be like, nah, I can't. It's too much.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Full-time job. Full-time job.
All right, then.
Any other segments? James, did you confirm if Ohm was doing $200 million in revenue? And is that GAAP revenue, non-GAAP?
So I don't know how they're doing their accounting practices. What I will say is that they for sure have the treasury, right? And the treasury's for unless all those
for sure at an equal rate to what the price is. Yeah.
I mean, but here's the real question. I mean, they're definitely making money. To your point, though, how much money? Who knows? They have to be making money through bonding. I mean, that's just that's they're selling bonds. Right, that's that function of what it is. It's like they're actually just helping.
Yeah, I'm saying was that $200 million last year? Was that $200 million this year's run rate based on the first 2 weeks of January?
That's pro forma. Okay. That's pro forma.
Projected versus year based on last year. Pro forma. All right. Yeah.
No, it's including Ohm Ventures, which is their VC.
Guidance. It's guidance.
You know, so we'll see. Listen, Oren's trying to get us out of Ohm. I'm gonna own me for life, baby. You know
I'm not trying to get out. There is no getting out. We have no way to exit. There is no way out.
Colin and I got diamond hands. Oren, just so everyone knows, Oren is either like a bastion of hope or just like the most like everything is ruined or our lives are screwed.
It's just it depends which way the med's flipping. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that we will. There is no selling. So that is what it is, and it's just
3-3
checking in. But James, you tried to bring the glimmer of hope. You popped in the group chat with like, "Yo, they're doing $200 million in revenue this year. Like, this might be hope. We should reinvest now." And then, with which I responded, "Let's go all in, empty the checking accounts. You know, like there's only up that we can go from here. You know." But then it was like, nah. I want to invest in myself. I want to work on myself. I'm going to, I'm going after the juniper tree, Joshua tree.
Juniper tree. Ohm's trending up. Look at the charts, guys.
$66. Let's go. I mean, where's the last floor check at? 67?
Dude, it was at 59 7 days ago. So it's turning around.
Yo, if we've been all in, if you've been just
You got a
deep in
DCA.
it.
You got a DCA and I guess that is now we're just rambling at this point. Is that
Yeah,
it?
we can
Hard
we can hard stop out from here. Or do we get those guys to write us a song for the outro? Do we get
Yep.
songfinch.co?
Perfect. Cue song now.